What is happening, y'all, man? How y'all doing today? Welcome to another edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC. Wells coming at you, and we're gonna preview Week 6, as you can see on the screen, man. It's Week 6. We're heading into the second weekend of October, and things are starting to heat up, man. We're starting to find out some things. Some teams starting to separate themselves. Some teams are a little bit of a disappointment right now. Some teams are doing much better than expected. So um, yeah, I'm excited, man. You know what I'm saying? It's SWAC football now. We got five SWAC games on the schedule, two non-conference games on the schedule. So got a jam-packed schedule. Everybody's playing this week. Nobody's off. And we got some meme-worthy games. We got some games that are legitimately big for conference standings, and we got a little bit of everything in between. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it, man. Hit those socials if you haven't done so already. Facebook is Swag Talk, Instagram Swag Talk, Twitter Swag Talk 76. If you want to show a little love to the show, you can hit the Cash App $ Swag Talk. Make sure you show a little love and support. And also, we are on the march to 1K. We've crossed over the 700s. We making our way to the 8s. So if you haven't subscribed already, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, share them, and hit that notification bell because I have some stuff that I'm going to be dropping soon. Kind of going through the statistical rankings and the standings and things. I'm going to start doing that probably after week 7. That puts us about the halfway point of the season. So I'll start to do that as things start to really shape up. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get those videos when they drop. And other than that, man, let me know, in the comments who you think gonna win this week. Any surprises that you think, or any of that nature, man. We always can chop it up in the comments. So Thursday is Swag Smoke Live, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and Sunday is our Week 6 recap. And we're gonna go through all the games that took place this weekend. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. We're gonna start off with our first game, which is Florida A&M at South Carolina State. This game is a 1 p.m. kickoff in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Game can be heard on the Rattler Sports Network. I'm not sure about any TV, but if I get any word, I'll let you know. These two teams come in, old MEAC rivals. FAMU is playing a lot better right now. They are 3-2 on the season right now. They've won their last 3 games, all at home. And South Carolina State is 1-3. They have played two FBS games, which they both lost, and they played 2 FCS games. One that they beat Bethune-Cookman, and the other they lost to North Carolina A&T. So this team is, kind of up and down. We don't really have a true identity of this team because those FBS games are kind of skewing their stats, and they got thumped pretty soundly by A&T. So you kind of don't really know where they at. They look sharp in spots against Bethune-Cookman, but they also, had a couple blemishes. Right now they're averaging 20 points a game, so they're not really scoring that much. Defensively, they're allowing 39 points per game. They're rushing for 107 yards per game, which right now is not really South Carolina State like. Their running game is not really there. The opponents are running for 238 passing. The Bulldogs averaging 147 yards per game. They have 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, 46 of 106 for 538 yards. The opponents have 870 yards and 217 yards per game through the air. They have 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, 67 of 115. Total offense, 254 yards per game. For the Bulldogs, they're averaging 4.2 yards per play. The opponent's 455 per game, and they're averaging 6.7 yards per play. So defensively, right now, South Carolina State is not, like I said, these numbers are skewed by 2 FBS games, so I'm not going to really put a lot of stock into these numbers. They'll start to even out in the next couple of weeks once they get into MEAC play. Third downs, they're converting 27%, 50% on fourth downs. They fumbled twice, but they haven't lost any fumbles, so they only had a 6 interceptions for turnovers, and the defense has 6 sacks. The opponents have 8 sacks, and they fumbled 9 times and lost 3. Opponents are converting 46% on third down and 60% on fourth down. Right now, they're led in rushing by Kendrell Flowers. He has 184 yards on the season, averaging 4.8 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. Um, Tyrese Nick is averaging 5.5 yards per carry, 122 yards and 1 touchdown. Passing, Corey Fields, 41 of 93, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Right now, he's completing 44% of his passes. So, really, the passing game is not really consistent. When they do go to the air, obviously they go to Shaq Davis. He has 12 catches for 311 yards, averaging 25 yards per catch. I mean, this guy is a big time player already, but they're definitely leaning hard on him. He has 3 touchdowns and an 87-yard catch. No other receiver averages more than 10 yards per game, so they don't have anybody other than him with 100 yards. They don't have anybody other than him with double-digit catches. So not, where the ball's going. They're not shy about going to him. So, if you're Florida A&M, you need to identify where he is and try to subdue him as best as you can. BJ Davis leads the team with 40 tackles. Jalen Barr, 27. Aaron Smith, 24 tackles for loss. Right now, Aaron Smith leads the team with 3 tackles for loss, along with Jablonski Green and Jamal McKinney. They all have 3 tackles for loss apiece. Green leads the team with 1.5 sacks, along with Kirksey. They both have 1.5 sacks to lead the team. And interceptions, Davis has 2, and Zion Keith has 2 right now to lead the team. Special teams, Robert Dyson is the punter. You've seen him on a couple highlight videos. One he got rocked, and one he ran 10 yards past line of scrimmage and punted. So you've seen him around. He has an average of 43.4 yards per punt. He has a longer 61, so that's definitely a weapon that the Bulldogs can use. He has 650-plus yard punts. Zimmerman is the kicker. He's 4 of 4 on field goals with a long of 32. They haven't attempted anything past 39 yards, so they haven't really tested the leg. They're 3 of 3 inside of 29 yards, so they aren't scared to kick field goals up close. Zimmerman also averages 54 yards per kickoff. He doesn't have any touchbacks right now, so the returns are possible for you. If you're Florida A&M, that's something that you can definitely try to take advantage of in the kickoff return game. And right now, they don't really have anybody standing out on any returns. So that's something that remains to be seen. Right now, Florida A&M comes into this game averaging 24 points per game, which puts them at 5th in the league right now. Defensively, they are allowing 32 points per game, which puts them at 7th in the league. Total offense, Florida A&M is 7th in the league at 347 yards per game. They're averaging 5 yards per play. Defensively, they're 6th in the league right now at 398 per game, 6.1 yards per play. The bulk of those numbers come from the Carolina and Jackson State games where they just really did not do well on defense. JSU really had their way with them and, put up a lot of points and yards on them. Total offense right now, rushing offense, Florida A&M is last in the league at 88 yards per game. They're averaging 2.8 yards per rush, which is the least by 0.5 yards per carry. So they are not running the ball well. They have not had anybody really step up and take charge in the run game. So that's something that definitely is going to have to be a focus for this team moving forward. You have to run the ball better just to make it easier for your passing game. Right now, defensively, they're allowing 174 yards per game rushing, which is 8th in the league. Passing offense, they're 2nd in the league. So they're throwing the ball well, 259 per game. They have 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, completing 57% of their passes. Defensively, they're 7th in the league, 224 yards per game. They have 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Their opponents are completed 66% of their passes, which is actually the 2nd highest amount in terms of completion percentage by an opponent. So teams are able to pass the ball efficiently against them. Kickoffs right now, Florida A&M is kickoff returns. They're averaging 15.9 yards per return, which is 11th, and punt returns at 7th at 6.3 yards per return. Kickoffs, they're averaging 64 yards per kick and a net of 45.7. So they're doing a pretty good job with kick coverage. They have 11 touchbacks on the season right now, which is tied for third, which is third place. So pretty solid kickoff unit. Field goals, they're 8 of 9 on the season for 88%, and extra points, they're 100%, 14 of 14. Punting right now, they're 4th in the league at 36.7 yards per punt net, and a total average of 41.5 yards per punt. Defensively, the opponents have registered 12 sacks against the Rattlers offensive line. That puts them at 8th in the league, and the Rattlers defense has 11 sacks on the season, which is 6th in the league. So that unit is starting to come around. The last couple of games, they've gotten better pressure on the quarterback, been able to make more plays in the backfield. So that puts them in a better position. Third down conversion right now, they're 37% as an offense. That's 4th in the league. And defensively, they are allowing 38%, which is 7th in the league. Fourth down conversions, the opponent's 42%, which is also 7th in the league. And they are 66% on fourth downs, which is 3rd in the league. So right now, like I said, Florida A&M, they're starting to come around. They started off slow. They even, in the game against Albany State, they didn't play particularly well, but they found a way to win. Terrell Jennings is the leading rusher with 184 yards. He's averaging 4.3 yards per carry. Right now, Jeremy Musa is the guy right now. He is 104 of 180 passing, 58%. He has 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,245 yards. Xavier Smith is the leading receiver. He has 43 catches for 446 yards, 6 touchdowns. The last couple games, they've been going to him really, really solidly. He's averaging 10.4 yards per catch. Shareed, 18 catches, 259 yards. He's averaging 14 yards per catch. Oxendine, 11 catches, 136 yards. He's averaging 12.4 yards per catch. But Xavier Smith is the guy right now on this team in the passing game. Defensively, the leading tackler right now is Isaiah Major, who's playing really well these last couple of weeks. He has 39 tackles. Isaiah Land has 5 tackles for loss to lead the team and 3 sacks to lead the team. Interceptions, they are all 4 of the interceptions come from 4 different guys. So they've been able to make some things happen that way. Romo Martinez is the kicker. He's been really solid on in the kick game, and the return game is solid with Shareed and Smith. They haven't broken anything yet, but they have the opportunity to do so in any game. So with this matchup, I went back and forth on this one. I'm gonna go with FAMU mainly because I'm going SWAC and non-conference. But right now, South Carolina State isn't playing, South Carolina State football. The seeds are there, but they right now they're just not really getting it done. So I have to kind of lean heavily on the Rattlers. I think they're starting to round the corner. The passing game is picking up. Their run game must improve to be successful throughout the season. But South Carolina State's been vulnerable through the air, so that's something that can help the Rattlers. So I like FAMU by a score of 28-21. I think this is going to be a hard-fought game. I think it's going to be a physical game, just like when anybody plays South Carolina State. FAMU is no slouch either physically. So I think this is going to be one of those games where both teams kind of get after it, and they just you see where the chips fall, and right now I'm going Rattlers. So we're going to see if the SWAC can pull out a non-conference game here. The next game that we have is Alabama A&M playing their second game at home in a row. They take on Grambling. That's also a 1 p.m. kickoff. That's the HBCU Go game of the week. So make sure you check that out on the HBCU Go app or on your local CW network. they've been doing a really good job with the production and everything for those games. So make sure you check that out. These two teams are kind of going in different directions. The last couple of weeks, Alabama A&M has started to improve. They're starting to look a bit better. They were able to pick up a victory over Bethune-Cookman last week, where they had a really solid day running the ball. Eaglin really had a big game running the ball for them. Langford is starting to kind of come into form as a quarterback. I think he's going to be the guy going forward. Ibrahim's been battling some injuries at receiver, so guys have been stepping up, and the defense has not been as bad as they have been in previous seasons. They're still not great, but they seem to be improving. Grambling is going the other way. They just lost to Prairie View in a game that they never really were in. They had a quarterback change. That position seems to be up in the air still as we head into the second week of October. So that's always a cause of concern for me when you're this deep into the season and you don't have a guy, even if he's not great or really good. When you don't have a guy that you can say this is your quarterback and that's nailed down, that's always a problem to me, especially late in the season. And it's starting to get late in the season. They may get Maurice Washington back this week, which is a huge shot in the arm for that offense. Their running game needs a guy like that. He's an explosive back. You need him to be available. And other than that, the passing game has been plagued with drops. The defense has been playing well. Now, Prairie scored 34 points in this game. They scored 2 defensive touchdowns. So Grambling's defense did not play that bad. That's one of the things that I always say when you look at points scored, defense giving up points, they did not give up all of those points. So Grambling's defense is solid right now defensively. As I say they're solid. They're last in scoring defense right now at 43 points per game, and they are 7th in the league in scoring offense at 21.4 points per game. Alabama A&M defensively, they are allowing 38 points per game, and they are scoring 16, which is 11th and 9th respectively. Total offense, neither Grambling is 11th in total offense right now. They're averaging 299 yards per game, 5.1 yards per play. Alabama A&M is 6th in total offense, 349 yards per game, and they average 4.7 yards per play. Defensively, Alabama A&M is 7th in total defense at 441 per game and 6.6 yards per play. Grambling is right behind them at 8th place, 446 yards per game, 6 yards per play. So these two defenses are kind of in the middle of the pack. And for Alabama A&M, that's a huge improvement from last season. So if they can continue to get better, this team will get better. Grambling right now is 11th in rushing offense, 125 yards per game. They're averaging 4.1 yards per carry. Alabama A&M is 8th in the league, 141 yards per game and 3.6 yards per carry. Rushing defense, Alabama A&M is 4th in rushing defense, so that defense is a whole lot better against the run this year. 133 yards per game, 4.3 yards per carry. Defensively, Grambling's allowing 224 on the ground, 5 yards per carry. So they had some problems with run defense. If you're A&M, that kind of bodes really well for you with a guy like Eaglin stepping into the fold for your running game. Passing offense, Alabama A&M is 4th in the league, 208 yards per game. They're completing 52% of their passes. Turnovers have been an issue for this team. They have 10 interceptions, which is the most thrown by any team in the conference right now, and they only have 4 touchdowns. Grambling is averaging 174 yards per game passing, and they have 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and they're completing 43% of their passes. So, like I said, there's no consistency with the passing game for Grambling right now. Passing defense, Grambling is 3rd in the league at 221 yards per game. They only have 2 interceptions as a defense. They've allowed 11 touchdowns, and opponents are completing 64% of their passes. So, that's a team that can throw the ball efficiently is going to have a good chance of success against Grambling. Alabama A&M is still susceptible to the passing game. They're allowing 308 yards per game. They have 4 interceptions and 13 touchdowns allowed. They're allowing 57% completion rate. So Grambling doesn't pass the ball well enough to really take advantage of Alabama A&M right now, of their weakness. But Grambling has guys that can go get the ball. Just depends on who's playing quarterback that can get the ball to those guys. Return game right now, they're both teams are kind of middle of the pack in returns on kickoff returns. Grambling is last in the league in punt returns right now. They haven't really had any success. A&M is sixth in the league in punt returns. Field goals, Alabama A&M is fourth in the league, 3 or 4. Grambling is fifth. They're also 3 or 4. Extra points, Grambling is 10 or 13. They've been kind of up and down on in the kicking game, so that's definitely something that can come back and plague them. A&M is 9 or 9. Punting, Grambling is averaging 38 yards per punt. A&M is 35.8. A lot of these numbers are pretty similar. Grambling has allowed 10 sacks as a defense, and A&M has allowed 17, which is the most allowed. That's last in the league in sacks allowed. Grambling is 6th. Defensively, A&M is they have 7 sacks on the season, which is 10th, and Grambling has 8, which is 9th. Grambling does have some pass rushers. They just have not been able to have a lot of success with getting sacks. Third down conversions, A&M is 10th at 30%. Grambling is last at 19%. Like I said, this is a team that struggles with consistency offensively. They can hit the big play. They can hit that big 70-yard pass or that big 70-yard run, but if they have to drive, they bog down somewhere, and third downs are a killer for them. A&M is allowing 45% on third down conversions, which is 10th in the league. Grambling is 32% as a defense, which is 4th in the league. So they do a pretty good job of getting stops as a defense. That's something I think that can help Grambling is their defense. Like I said, the running game it is necessary that Maurice Washington plays. Right now, he is the leader in rushing, and he's averaging 15 yards a carry. So he can burst the big one at any time. That's a guy that, if he's healthy, you need him. Chance Williams is the second leading rusher. He hasn't been getting a lot of carries the last couple of weeks. So I would like to see him get more carries. Like I said, quarterback, Calvez or Hawkins, right now, who knows where they're going to go with that. It's hard to say what the passing game is going to do if you don't really know what the guy the guy is that's going to lead. But Lyndon Rash right now is the leading receiver, 14 catches, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, right now, the leading tackler is Lawrence Matthews. I say it every week. He's a tackling machine. 53 tackles on the season. He has 7 tackles for loss to lead the team. Sunday Anderson, 4.5 tackles for loss. That second, Anderson leads the team with 3 sacks. Powell with 2. And right now they have 2 interceptions. So not a lot defensively going on there. A&M, like I said, their run game has definitely picked up the last couple of weeks. Eaglin is he's averaging 5.3 yards per carry, 274 yards. He had 3 touchdowns last week. So he's definitely having a big season right now. Xavier Langford, 77 of 140 for 868 yards. He's completing 55% of his passes. He had 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Turnovers have been the issue. So if they're going to go with him, you just have to kind of work your way through those turnovers. Isaiah Cox, 14 catches, 233 yards, and a touchdown. Brian Jenkins Jr., 18 catches, 142 yards. Ibrahim, 13 catches, 138 yards. Like I said, he's battling injury right now. So, if he's available, he's definitely going to be a factor in the offense. Their leading tackler right now is Dre Terry with 25. Moses Douglas with 24. Tackles for loss. Hayes and Douglas each have 5 tackles for loss. And Douglas has 3 sacks to lead the team. And Douglas also has 2 interceptions. So he's been a guy that's been all over the place for the Bulldogs. This game is anybody's game, even though Grambling is still not playing well. A&M is still, they're still finding their way. But I like A&M in this game because even though I feel like A&M may not be 100% on their quarterback play, I feel like Grambling it has a lot of questions right now. And to me, that's something that's really going to hinder you in a game like this. So I like Alabama and them because I think what their weakness is on the defensive side, Grambling is not able to capitalize. So I'm going A&M 26, Grambling 20. I think this is going to be it's going to be a sloppy game. I think there's going to be a few turnovers. Grambling can win this game, so don't think my prediction means that Grambling can't win this game. This is probably one of the more winnable games that they have at this point. But it's a road game, so I think that may skew some things a little bit. But Bulldogs, I think, are going to pull it out. The next game we have is Texas Southern against Arkansas Pine Bluff. This game is a 2 o'clock kickoff. Can be seen on the UAPB Sports Network. Again, earlier in the season, I would have put this as a straight TSU blowout. That the offense for TSU has been they're wildly inconsistent. In SWAC play, they haven't been great. In the FBS games, they've scored quite a few points. They haven't really been able to score points in conference play. In that game last week against Alabama State, the offense never really got going. And that, to me, that's a problem for a team who offense was so explosive last season. This team is only averaging 17 points per game. That's weird to me. They have a lot of pieces, but they're just not playing consistent football. Pine Bluff right now is averaging 31 points per game. Their offense is really going to be in shambles at the quarterback position. Skylar Prairie missed last week with an injury. Jalen Macon, the backup quarterback, got hurt in the second half of the Southern game. So if he's not able to go, or Perry's not eligible to go, Chancellor Edwards will be the guy. He's a freshman. Also, Macon's a freshman. So they're going to have a young quarterback playing probably either way unless Perry is able to go. Defensively, Texas Southern's defense has been playing pretty well this season. They're allowing 23 points per game, which is 5th in the league. And Pine Bluff allowing 41 points per game, which is 11th in the league. The defense has 2 or 3 guys out. So if they don't get those guys back, as you saw last week, their defense, it lots of holes all over the place. Total offense, Pine Bluff, 357 yards per game, 5.5 yards per play. That's 5th in the league. Texas Southern right now is 8th in the league, 333 yards per game, 5.1 yards per play. Defensively, Texas Southern is allowing 450 yards per game, 6.5 yards per play. Pine Bluff, 453 yards per game and 6.9 yards per play, which is the most in the league. They're 10th right behind Texas Southern in total defense. Rushing offense, Pine Bluff was 2nd last week. They only ran the ball for 3 yards against Southern. So that dropped them down to 6th, 155 yards per game. Right now, they're averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Texas Southern, 172 yards per game on the ground. That's 4th, 4.1 yards per carry. When you got a guy like Andrew Body and Ladarius Owens and Ja'Cory Howard, that's a nice mix of a running game, and that's been probably the most consistent element on this offense. So Pine Bluff is 10th in the league in rushing defense, so I expect TSU to be able to run the ball fairly well. Pine Bluff's allowing 228 yards per game and 5.9 yards per play, which is also the highest yard per play average for the SWAC. Defensively, Texas Southern right now is last in the league in rushing defense at 255 yards per game, and they allow 5.6 yards per play. So both these teams have guys that can run the ball. Kayvon Britton is a really solid back for Pine Bluff. If they can get the running game going, then that'll be their key to success against Texas Southern. Because, like I said, I think Pine Bluff right now, with the quarterback issues, injuries, and everything, they're going to have to lean on their run game. Right now, Pine Bluff is 5th in passing offense with 201 yards per game. They have 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Texas Southern, 160 yards per game passing, 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's a big surprise when a lot of people felt like the passing game would be key for Texas Southern, and that's not right. That's not there right now. They're 9th in the league in passing offense, so they really have to get it together, and it really starts Saturday. Pine Bluff is actually 4th in the league in passing defense, allowing 225 yards per game. They have allowed 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Opponents complete 63% of their passes. Texas Southern allowing 195 yards per game as a defense, which is actually, if you reverse this, They're second in the league in passing defense because, they're fifth in the league in passing defense because they allow 195 yards per game. You flip the yardage, Pine Bluff's eighth in passing defense. So Texas Southern is really strong against the pass on this season. They have allowed 9 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Opponents completing 56% of their passes, which is second in the league. So they do a good job defensively with the pass game. Pine Bluff right now they have allowed they've allowed 12 sacks on the season, which is ninth. Texas Southern has allowed 10 sacks on the season, which is seventh. Texas Southern has 6 sacks as a defense. Pine Bluff right now has 10 as a defense. That's 8th and 11th, respectively. Conversions, third downs, Pine Bluff is converting 30% of their third downs. That's 8th in the league. Texas Southern is 5th at 36.4. Texas Southern is 6th in opponent third down conversion, 37.5. Pine Bluff is 9th at 42.5. Pine Bluff is 7th in fourth down conversions at 50%. Texas Southern is last at 16%. Opponents for Pine Bluff are only converting 11% on fourth downs, and Texas Southern's opponents are completing 33%. That's first and sixth, respectively. Like I said, in the individual guys, I've already talked about the running game for Texas Southern. I think that's going to be the key. The passing game has to get going. Right now, Derek Morton is the leading receiver with 19 catches, 327 yards, and a touchdown. He's averaging 17 yards per catch. So you definitely want to get him involved. Defensively, the leading tackler right now is Jacob Williams. He has 37 tackles. Tariq Cooper, 30. D. Anderson, 28. Tackles for loss. Michael Akins leads the team with 7 tackles for loss. He should have a good game against this Pine Bluff offensive line. They really struggled last week. So if TSU can keep the pressure up, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt the Pine Bluff run game. Akins leads the team with 2 sacks. Isaiah Hamilton leads the team with 2 interceptions. And like I said, Pine Bluff threw 4 interceptions last week, so that's definitely something to look out for. If Perry's still banged up, he can possibly commit some turnovers. If Edwards or Macon is able to go, those guys have both been susceptible to turnovers. So TSU has a great chance of turning Pine Bluff over, which can help them win this game. Right now, like I said, Kayvon Britton is the leading rusher for Pine Bluff, 380 yards. He's averaging 5.4 yards per carry and 6 touchdowns. Quarterback is up in the air. We'll know more as the week goes on due to injuries. Receiving right now, their leading receiver is Raekwon Prince, 18 catches, 235 yards. Chris Cochran, 18 catches, 233 yards. They both can, they're both guys who can make some big plays for them. They both have a 43-yarder for Prince and a 59 as their long, so they're pretty explosive guys. Defensively, like they're still missing some guys. Isaac Peppers, I know he was banged up. I think Akins was banged up, and I think Beard has been banged up. I think they all missed the Southern game. So getting those guys back is key for your defense. Peppers is your leading tackler with 27. Jones with 26. Woods with 26. Tackles for loss, Clark 3.5. Woods 2.5. Sacks, Clark with 3. Gray with 2. Interceptions, they have 4 guys each with 1. So right now, this is probably one of the more intriguing games because these two teams are going in different directions, but neither one of these teams is playing really well right now. I like Texas Southern. I think their offense, if they can get back on track, I think their offense is the better unit of any unit in this game. So if the offense can get going and their passing game can get going, their running game can continue to develop and develop consistency, I think they'll win this game. And I like TSU winning this game by a score of 30-17. Pine Bluff is so banged up. I don't know if any of those guys are going to be back this week. If they're not, that's going to be a problem because they don't have a lot of solid depth. I like to say quality depth. They got guys, but they don't have guys who are starter caliber or close to that on the fill in for those guys that are out. So that's a big problem for a team like that, as you saw last week. The next game we're going to talk about is Bethune-Cookman against Tennessee State. Tennessee State This is their homecoming. They are this game is scheduled to kick off at 5 p.m. ESPN Plus broadcast. Like I said, Tennessee State homecoming, so big game for them. They need a big game because they lost Tulane not Tulane. They lost Tulane College last week. So they need something to get themselves back on track. They're 0-4. A lot of outside people are calling for Eddie George to be on the hot seat. I don't think that's the case right now. That the season is so early. And this is only his second year. This is his fourth game in his second year. He does need to get some things together, but this team has some talent, so they can, if they can right the ship, they'll be okay. They're averaging 16 points per game. They're allowing 32. They're running the ball for 142 yards per game. They're allowing 146 yards per game, 3.4 yards per carry, 4 yards per carry for the opponents. Passing right now, Tennessee State 165 yards per game, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 9 touchdowns, and only 1 interception for the opponents. And they're averaging 252 through the air. So they've been getting gashed through the air this season. 398 total offense for the opponents per game, 5.6 yards per play, 4.6 yards per play for the Tigers, and 308 yards per game. Third downs, they're converting 34% and 55% on fourth downs. They have 7 sacks as a defense. Tennessee State has allowed 16 sacks, so they have not done a good job of protecting the quarterback. Opponents converting 42% on third downs and 85% on fourth down. So you can move the ball on these guys. They have, they brought in a lot of new guys, but they haven't really gelled. Devon Starling is their leading rusher, 292 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and a touchdown. The leading passer right now is Draylon Ellis, 39 of 69, 56%, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 492 yards. You expect a little bit better from that guy. Right now, Zach Dobson is the leading receiver. He has 11 catches for 131 yards. Cam Weiss, 10 catches for 148 yards. They each have a touchdown. Defensively, Bryant is the leading tackler with 26. Also, Trotter has 26 tackles for loss. Patterson with 3.5. And Nash has 2 sacks to lead the team. And like I said, they had a 1 interception by Watkins. So this team is not really where you would expect them to be. Just don't really know right now where this team is at. Bethune-Cookman, they are kind of up and down as well. They played a scrappy game against Alabama and them last week, but they just could not really get it done. They fell behind 14-0, ended up tying the game, and it ultimately ended up losing. They are allowing 39 points per game as a defense. They're 10th. They are averaging 21 points per game, which is 8th. Total offense, they are 3rd in the league in total offense. So this offense is starting to round into form. 376 yards per game, 6.2 yards per play. Total defense, they're 11th at 475 yards per game and 6.8 yards per play. That's 11th. Rushing offense, Bethune-Cookman is 7th in the league at 141 yards per game. And you have guys like Bird and Jimmy Robinson and Jalen Jones to carry the ball for this offense. So we expect to see those guys have a good game against Tennessee State. Bethune-Cookman's rushing defense is 11th at 242 yards per game, and that's a tough thing to go against a back like Starling, who's a really, really good running back. And I'm quite sure Tennessee State going to try to feed him the ball. The passing offense for Bethune-Cookman right now is 3rd in the league at 234 yards per game. They have 4 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, so interceptions have still been a problem. The passing defense is 8th, 233 yards per game. They're allowing 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Defensively, defensively, Bethune-Cookman is last in the league in sacks by their defense with 5, and they've allowed 10 sacks as an offense, so that's 5th in the league. Third down conversions, Bethune-Cookman is converting 30%, which is 9th in the league, and they're allowing 46%, which is 11th in the league. Fourth down conversions, Bethune-Cookman is 3 of 3 for 100%. That leads the league. and they are eighth in defense at 50%. And basically, like I said, this team is starting to round in the form. Like I said, they got some really solid running backs. Bird is really their guy right now, 237 yards, averaging 7 yards per carry. He's broken a lot of big runs this season. Jones, 161 yards, so he's definitely a weapon. Jones right now, he has 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and he's starting to round in the form. But you kind of know what you're getting from him. Right now, the receivers are starting to come around. Everett has been a bigger factor in the last couple of weeks. He has 11 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown. Lee leads the team with 14 catches for 192 yards. The leading tackler right now is Jones with 27 and Blake with 23 tackles for loss. McKenzie with 3. Leading sack man is Pearson with 1.5, and interceptions. Hill Robinson has 2 to lead the team. So this is anybody's game. Tennessee State, like I said, they have not played really well this season, and they're 0-4, and they're definitely looking for a win. I think Bethune-Cookman's been rounded. They've been playing a little bit better this season. So I like Bethune-Cookman. I think the offense is coming together. I think they're going to hand Tennessee State another loss. I like the score at 31-28. I think Bethune-Cookman will be able to pull out that victory. The next game we're going to talk about is Alcorn at Valley. That game kicks off at 6 p.m. ESPN Plus in Itta Bena, so you can definitely check that out. Valley right now they are not looking good. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Last in the league in scoring offense at 8.8 points per game. Defensively allowing 36 points per game, which is 8th. Alcorn is starting to round in the form, as you can tell. Right now scoring 23 points per game, which is 6th, and at 6th in scoring defense at 30 points per game. Total offense, Valley right now is last in the league at 233 yards per game. They average 3.9 yards per play. Alcorn is 4th in the league at 364 yards per game and 5.6 yards per play. Total defense, Alcorn is 5th in the league at 395 yards per game and 5.6 yards per play. Valley last 492. They're allowing 6.5 yards per play. Rushing offense, Valley. I thought this would be a bigger element of their team, but right now it's not. 130 yards per game, 3.6 yards per carry. That's 9th. Alcorn is 2nd in the league in rushing at 240 yards per game, 5.7 yards per carry. Jarvion Howard has been a huge factor in this run game the last couple of weeks. He's a threat to break one at any time. So that's definitely helping Alcorn. They're averaging 5.7 yards per carry. Rushing defense, Alcorn is 6th at 147 yards per game. They're allowing 3.8 yards per carry. And Valley is 7th in the league in rushing defense at 158 yards, 4.6 yards per carry allowed. Passing, Valley is last at 102 yards per game. They're only completing 45% of their passes, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This team is just, like I said, they just haven't been able to find their way. Alcorn right now is 10th in the league in passing at 124 yards per game, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Valley's last in passing defense, 333 yards per game. They have 2 interceptions and allow 15 touchdowns, which is the most in the league. Alcorn is 6th in passing defense, 248 yards per game, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions allowed. Right now, Valley has allowed 14 sacks on the season, which is 11th. Alcorn has allowed 6, which is 2nd. Valley's defense is 4th in the league in sacks at 12. So they do get pressure, and that's a lot of that comes from Ronnie Thomas. He has a lot of sacks and a lot of tackles for loss. I think he's one of the best defenders in the league this season. I love to hear his name get mentioned more. Alcorn is 2nd in the league at 14 sacks, and that comes from a huge 10-sack effort against McNeese. Their defense is starting to play Alcorn defense again. Third down conversions, Valley is 11th in the league at 28%, and Alcorn is 7th in the league at 31%. Third down conversion defense, Alcorn allows 39%, which is 8th. Valley 48%, which is last. Valley is 2nd in 4th down conversions at 71%. Alcorn is 8th at 50%. Valley's defense is 9th, allowing 57% on fourth downs, and Alcorn is 10th, also allowing 57% on fourth downs. Like I said, the run game for Alcorn, it starts with Howard. Right now, he has 580 yards on the season, averaging 8.1 yards per carry and 6 touchdowns. He also Nico Duffy still. Leatherwood's also a guy that can carry the ball for Alcorn. The passing game is still trying to, it's still coming around. Allen's completing 55% of his passes, 48 or 87, 462 through the air, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Right now, the leading receiver on the team is C.J. Bollard with 10 catches. Yardage man is Rogers with 122 yards and a touchdown. So the passing game is still kind of rounding in the form. Defensively, their leading tackler right now is Ellis with 26, James with 25 tackles for loss. Ellis and James both have 5 tackles for loss apiece. Sacks, Ellis 2.5. Interceptions, they have 3 guys with 1 interception apiece. Valley has a 3-headed monster with the run game, but they haven't had a lot of success. On the last few weeks, they've hit some big plays here and there, but just nothing consistent. Caleb Johnson, 285 yards. He's averaging 4 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Thomas, 158 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Jamari Jones can also run the ball. Right now, he has 73 yards. He's averaging 2.4 yards per carry and no touchdowns. Jones is the guy for the passing game right now. 357 yards, 57% completion rate, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Receivers, Rankin leads the team with 10 catches, and he has 102 yards. Bates has 105 yards. He had an 83-yard touchdown against FAMU, so maybe you can get him involved a little bit more. Defensively, Ronnie Thomas is the leading tackler with 30. The leading guy in tackles for loss with 11. This next guy in tackles for loss has 3. So as you can see, Thomas is definitely in the backfield a lot, and he's the leading sack man with 7. So you need to know what number 50 is at all time if you're Alcorn. And Alexander has 2 interceptions to lead the Delta Devils. But Valley has struggled so much this season, and it's gonna be another tough game for them. They've been really scrappy in the first quarters, though. They come out and they put up a good fight in the first quarter, and they wear down. So I kind of see the same thing happening. They probably hit a couple big plays in the first quarter, and Alcorn be staggered a little bit, but they'll find their way. And I like the Braves by a score of 40-14. Valley just still not where a lot of people think they should be at this point. Their offense is just not really getting it done. This game would probably be my game of the week. I'm only picking the JSU game for the game of the week because I think entertainment-wise, a lot of the off-the-field stuff, that's intriguing to me. Southern and Prairie has some off-the-field stuff with Dooley coming back, Dumas coming back, a couple other guys, coaches and stuff. So, there's a lot of things there, but, the memes and stuff weigh a lot more for me. But this is going to be a good game. Southern is still Jekyll and Hyde. They can score. If they can score, they put up points. They're averaging 40.5 points per game. That's basically from 2 games. Prairie View's averaging 25 points per game. They're a little bit more of a team that can, they're more of a ground and pound team right now. The passing game is kind of inconsistent, but they run and play defense. Defensively, Prairie View is 2nd in the league in scoring defense at 20 points per game. Southern is 4th in the league at 23 points per game allowed. So both defenses don't really give up a lot of points. Total offense, Southern is 2nd at 444 yards per game. They average 6.8 yards per play. Again, that's basically from 2 games. Although they did put up decent numbers against TSU, no points though. Prairie View 323 yards per game. That's 10th in the league. They average 5 yards per play. Prairie View is 3rd in total defense at 310 yards. 4.7 yards per play. Southern is 2nd, 296 yards, 4.7 yards per play. So both these defenses are very salty, man. I think this is going to be a really good physical game. Southern leads the league in rushing at 259 yards per game, 6.3 yards per carry. Prairie View is 3rd at 203 yards per game, 4.5 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns for each team on the ground. Southern is 2nd in run defense at 107.5 yards per game, 3.2 yards per carry. That's 2nd least amount in the league. Prairie is third in rushing defense at 133 yards per game, 3.6 yards per carry. They both allowed 6 touchdowns on the ground. So these numbers are very similar. Passing offense, Southern is seventh in the league at 184 yards per game. There are 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and those interceptions have plagued Southern. That's what really hurt them against Texas Southern was interceptions and red zone performance. They're completing 61% of their passes, which is actually is second in the league. So they complete a fair amount of their passes when they're not throwing them to the other team. Prairie is 11th in passing offense at 120 yards per game, 51% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This passing game has been up and down. They not scared to lean on the run game when the passing game isn't working. So neither team fills the game, the stadium up with footballs. So I think this is going to be a running type of game, and it's going to be a physical game. Southern is 7th in passing defense. They're 4th in passing defense at 188 yards per game, allow 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Those 8 interceptions lead the league. Opponents completing 58% of their passes. Prairie is 3rd at 177 yards per game. They have 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, also 58% completion rate. These defenses are, like I said, once again, these defenses are very, very similar. Southern has allowed 8 sacks on the season. Prairie leads the league in sacks allowed with 5. So both offensive lines are really solid. They don't allow a lot of sacks. Both teams have mobile quarterbacks, so that helps as well. Both teams get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. Prairie has 13 sacks. Southern has 12. This is a trench battle on both sides. Whoever controls the line of scrimmage is going to win this game because both teams want to run the football. That's pretty much the way it goes. Southern is 2nd in the league at 44% on third downs. Prairie is 6th at 33. Southern defense is 2nd in the league, allowing 30% on third downs. And Prairie is 5th in the league, allowing 35% fourth down conversions. Southern is 10th at 37%. Prairie is 5th at 60%. Southern allows opponents 28% third down conversion rate. Fourth down conversion. Prairie is at 22, which is 2nd. And like I said, these two teams they similar. They really want to do the same thing. They want to come in where Southern really wants to throw the ball more, but the passing game hasn't really been the Southern historically is a running team the last few years, so that groundwork is still there for that team. Prairie has a 3-headed monster with their run game right now. Antoine, 396 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Connolly, 232 yards, 5 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Stewart, 164 yards per rushing, 4.2 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. So those 3 guys are gonna carry the ball. Connolly, 45 or 79, 57% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 485 yards. Defensively, the leading tackler right now is Mulmore with 34 and Johnson with 33, Brown with 31. Tackles for loss, Evans with 6, Johnson with 5, James with 4.5, Schenkel with 4 sacks. Johnson and Jones lead the team with 2 sacks apiece. Interceptions, Smith has 2 to lead the team. So you like I said, this Prairie defense is predicated on running and defense. Southern, they do want to throw the ball more this season, but right now the running game is pretty much where it's at. McCray, the quarterback, leads the team with 299 yards, 7.7 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Sims, 222 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Rhymes, 206 yards, 6.6 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Again, both teams have running quarterbacks, so you can expect both quarterbacks to make some plays with their legs in this game. McCray, 48 or 76, 6 touchdowns. He does have the 5 interceptions, 544 yards. Southern has to get McCray out of the pocket. He's a shorter guy, so you got to get him out of the pocket. A lot of his interceptions have come from tip passes, so you definitely need to make sure that he has a clean passing lane to make some things happen. Chandler Whitfield, 11 catches for 130 yards for Southern. He has 1 touchdown. Dyson has 2 touchdowns, 2 big plays for him. Allen's a big receiver. He has 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Sims and Rhymes can both catch the ball out of the backfield, so that's a good weapon for Southern. Right now, the Southern defense is 10th in the league, allowing 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. leading tackler on the team is Harris, McCray, and Campbell. They each have 18 tackles. Lang with 17. Lang leads the team with 6.5 tackles for loss. Brown 5.5. Jordan Lewis with 4. He left the game last week with an injury. We'll see how his status is. Sacks right now, Brown and Lewis lead the team with 3. A big factor for Southern last week was getting Jason Dumas back on the defensive line. That really allowed that defensive line to get a solid pass rush on Pine Bluff. Dumas 5 tackles last week, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. He's the guy who can make some things happen for Southern in this game. I think he's going to be the X factor for Southern's defense. This game, man, I've been going back and forth on this game. This is my real game of the week, but like I said, I'm going with the JSU game of the week because I just love the memery and everything. But this game, I think, can be a very close game. Both teams like to run the ball. Both teams are playing good defense. The team who can pass the ball efficiently and consistently through the game is probably going to be the team that wins, and turnovers are going to be a key. Both teams force a lot of interceptions. Both teams get a lot of sacks, so quarterback play is going to be at a premium. I can see this game going either way, and I can see this game, maybe getting out of hand if one of the teams can stop the other team from running the ball and force them to throw. But I see this being a game of give and take, a game that goes into the fourth quarter, and I'm picking Prairie View because they're playing at home. I think that that's going to be a big thing. I think they have the emotion of being the guys that get your ex-coach coming back. I don't know how much that's going to play into this game. Southern has yet to play consistent, constant. I can't even think of the word I need to use. They have yet to play back-to-back games well, and that's something that makes me nervous. They've been able to blow teams out, but then they've had 2 bad losses. So Prairie View's been consistent this season in SWAC play, running the ball, playing defense, and getting it done. So I like Prairie View in this game, in a close game, but I can see Southern winning this game if a few things go their way. But right now, like I said, I'm going with the Panthers as the home team. The last game on the schedule is probably the game that most people are looking forward to. Jackson State goes to Alabama State. Is Alabama State homecoming. This has been talked about since the schedule came out, and it was talked about a lot on the coaches' press conference. So you know what to expect. JSU is blowing everybody away on an offensive average of 47.5 points per game. The defense is only allowing 9 points per game. They've given up, a few touchdowns the last couple of weeks, but they're coming off of a bye week, so they are ready to go. Bama State defensively, they're pretty solid defensively. They only allow 21 points per game, but the offense is only scoring 16, and that doesn't bode well in a game like this. Jackson State leads the league in total offense at 533 yards per game. They average 7 yards per play. Bama State right now is 9th in the league with 326 yards per game, 5.2 yards per play. Total defense, JSU 185 yards per game allowed, 3.2 yards per play. Bama State is 4th at 313 and 5 yards per play. And that's even with an FBS game. So that defense is good. But I don't know if they're going to be good enough to hold down Jackson State enough for your offense to find some kind of way to move the ball. Bama State is 10th in rushing offense at 126 yards per game. Jackson State is 5th at 169 yards per game. And to me, that's the most underrated thing about this Jackson State offense this season is the ability to run the ball. You have Wilkerson that's really running the ball really well for them. You just have, Santee Marshall is still running the ball well for JSU. You got J.D. Martin and Shador can also, get you those sneaky yards. Bama State has a 3-headed monster in the run game, and Davis can help out if he's starting. I still don't like the quarterback play for Bama State. There's, we still don't have the guy really locked down because Davis is up and down. This is his first year as a starter. Crowley's been pretty solid when he's come in, but this is a tough task for the Bama State offense. Um, right now, Bama State is fifth in the league in rushing defense at 143 yards per game. Jackson State allows 80 yards per game rushing. Jackson State leads the league in passing offense at 364 yards per game. Alabama State is sixth at 200 yards per game. Um, Jackson State only has one interception and 15 touchdowns. Alabama State 5-5. Jackson State is second in the league in passing defense at 104 yards per game. They have 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Alabama State is second in passing defense, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Defensively, Jackson State has allowed 7 sacks on the season, which is third. That's a big improvement from last season. The offensive line is playing a lot better. Alabama State has allowed 14 sacks on the season, which is 10th. Jackson State leads the league with 16 sacks, and Alabama State is 7th in the league with 10. So both teams can get pressure on the quarterback. Like I said, defensively, Alabama State is very capable of competing in this game. Offensively, is the biggest issue for me right now, but Alabama State converts 37% on third downs, which is third. Jackson State first with 45%. Jackson State only allows 19% on third downs. As a defense, Alabama State is third with 30%. Fourth downs, Jackson State is fourth with 66%, and Alabama State is ninth with 40%. Defensively, Jackson State is eighth on fourth downs with 28%. Third on fourth down with 28%, and Alabama State is fifth with 33%. Obviously, like I said, the run game for Jackson State, you have Wilkerson, who leads the team with 323 yards, Marshall 202 yards, Martin 74, Shador 49. Marshall's averaging 7.5 yards per carry, Wilkerson 58. Wilkerson has 3 touchdowns. Shador Sanders right now, 75% completion rate, 121 of 161, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Multiple guys that can catch the ball for this team. Dallas Daniels has been the big guy in terms of big plays this season. 28 catches, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns. Shane Hooks, 25 catches, 239 yards. Willie Gaines has come on in the last couple of weeks. 7 catches, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 29 yards per catch. You have Kevin Coleman, DJ Stevens, Cameron Buckley, Malachi Wyman, Rico Powers. There's a lot of guys. Quay Davis, Rucker. I mean, there's so many guys that can be a factor in this passing game. So Bama State's going to be busy trying to make sure they are aware of these guys. Aubrey Miller leads the defense with 26 tackles. Silman Craig with 23 tackles for loss right now. Niles Gaddy leads with 7, and he also leads the team with 4.5 sacks. Interceptions, all their interceptions about different guys. Alabama State, the offense, like I said, has not been the most consistent offense, and when they play well, they've been doing pretty well. But they've been being carried by their defense, and that, like I keep saying, that's a big problem in a game like this. Right now, their leading rusher on the team is Shakur Merritt with 249 yards. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry. Santo Dunn, 234 yards. He's averaging 6.3 yards per carry. Jawan Howell, who had a big game against Texas Southern last week, 133 yards, 3.7 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. Right now, passing-wise, Davis leads the team with 475 yards. He has 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Crowley, 424, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Consistency is key there. Whoever your guy is, he's going to have to start to develop. Isaiah Scott, 193 yards on 10 catches and a touchdown. Chenault, 12 catches, 189 yards and a touchdown. Edmonds, 6 catches, 129 yards and a touchdown. Johnson, 4 catches, 111 yards. Hickson, 11 catches, 101 yards. So they spread the ball around. They definitely spread the ball around. Defensively, the leading tackler on the season is Bubba Adams with 41. Davis with 31. Tackle for loss, Brandon Gaddy with 5. It's the Gaddy Bowl. Brandon Gaddy with 5 tackle for loss. Adams 3.5. Maddox 3.5 sacks. Young Roll leads the team with 3. Gaddy with 2 interceptions. Maddox has 2. So Alabama State defense I think they can play fairly well in this game. Offensively, I just don't see it. I just don't see them being able to move the ball against the Jackson State defense. I think the Bama State defense will wear down in this game. It may be tight early, but I think Jackson State is going to pour it on in the second half, and they'll win this game by a score of 45-10. I think Alabama State's defense is good enough to slow Jackson State down for a little while, but the lack of explosiveness for that offense and the lack of consistency for the offense is really going to hurt them in this game. So, JSU gets to go and ruin another homecoming in Alabama this year, and, they'll move on to their next game. So that's going to do it for this week. Like I said, we had a full schedule, and I'll be back on Sunday to recap all these games. And Thursday is SWAC Smoke live as usual, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure y'all check all that out. Like the videos, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscription button if you haven't. Got a little button popping up on the screen. Hit that, man, and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.